If you guys don't mind hanging out for a 5-10 minute chat, I'm curious about everybody's opinions about like the feel of half health characters. I know it's not that fun. It kind of takes the problems of regular Overwatch and like magnifies them more than anything else. And definitely like we had a hard, because we didn't have full teams either. We had a bit of a weird time balancing that and figuring out like, well, it's obvious too that an elo diff with the existing regular heroes has a significantly different impact than an elo diff with half health characters. But like, what are the bigger things? And you guys can just kind of speak up if you want, as you want, and tell me your opinions on that. What's the good? What's the bad? Was there anything? I found there's a few fun things. I'll note it myself a little later here, but yeah. Anybody have anything they want to say?
I think that it definitely would need some more attention in tuning, because the particular like tilting one that I think was the one where I muted my mic was just getting one shot by a Cassidy sticky bomb around the corner. I got one shot by that shit, and he didn't even have to look at me. And I was like,
yeah, there did seem like it took a lot of like really simple abilities, and made those simple abilities like extremely impactful.
yeah.
Does anybody else have any other, especially abilities too, that stood out to you as something a little bit crazy? Stuff maybe too you guys liked about it. I'll point that out in just a second here. Nobody.
I liked that the tank fights felt a little more like you had to think about what you're doing.
I think that's because like when everyone's full health, tanks are so tanky with supports on them that you can kind of do whatever and not get punished, and you have to pick something that's good as opposed to picking something that isn't bad. So when you have half health and you get blown up if you do something bad, you have to avoid doing something bad, which really limits your options.
But
makes you have to think about what your options are, as opposed to I can just walk up and my healers will heal me and I'll look for something.
And it seemed like counters felt a lot stronger too. Like it feels like it could really quickly slip into counter watch over ult eco mattering.
I think there's two parts to that, and we'll add into like Bucket saying with having to like think about your engagements. Obviously with tanks exploding a lot quicker and there's being a lot more like one shots, like I personally really liked the fact that everybody had to play a lot slower and that every little bit of damage was like significantly more important.
I don't think playing slow is the right idea. I
think
methodically is the right way to say it, but you have to play faster.
Absolutely,
you have to make your decisions faster, and you have to make good decisions quickly and move decisively.
Yeah, actually, let me rephrase that then. You have to play faster, but you have to definitely play a lot safer, and really pick your battles, because when you do pick a battle, like that is there's going to be no other battles. Like you're either going to fight and win or you're going to fight and lose. And
it would be interesting to try on 75% health instead of half health.
Yeah, just to
see how many breakpoints that changes.
Bring the power back a little bit, because like it definitely, well, this is something else too. When you guys were together, when everybody was fighting in a group, the everything felt really smooth. But as soon as everybody was staggered, because you died so quickly, the stagger kept going for almost ever. Like you just need to catch one person on their back foot, and then you catch them on their back foot again, you catch them on their back foot, and it just kind of keeps going from there. It's a lot easier, as opposed to when you have a little more health. That person can like start the engage on you, and then you can kind of like decide whether or not you want to continue the engage or you want to back off and regroup with your team.
That's, I think, directly proportional to time to kill, because like we're all used to having like half a second to react to something and walk to cover. So when we position that way, position in a way that we can survive stuff. But when the enemy comes around the corner and instantly kills you because they can one combo you or hit you with a single helix rocket or body shot you as Hanzo or anything like that, or just shoot you as Sombra, those are all you just die so fast that you aren't used to. You're not safe in places you'd normally be safe, I guess.
I would argue on
I
that.
don't think.
Oh, go ahead, Sleepy.
I don't think that fast of a time to kill has a place in escort. I think it would be different if it was played on a control map. But the sheer fact that you have to be either on a payload or contesting the payload has a level of vulnerability to it, to where you can get hit by that splash damage from a random helix rocket, or
I also think that the problem then becomes that control maps are built so you have to walk through smallish corridors, predictable corridors.
It
so
does
you can really control it easily.
There is going to be a hard balance there, because the like I also think we are biased because we are trying to play Overwatch the way we're used to playing Overwatch. So there is a little bit of like a the way.
I don't think it's bias. I think it's a certain amount of reverence to a game's identity.
Yeah, exactly. So for just pointing for example, in Overwatch, part of the identity is the fact that you can step out, take a few shots, take some splash damage, and pull back into cover. But when we take away,
and go again.
Yeah, when we take away that it's now when you step out, you immediately live or die. That fundamentally changes the game. Like I felt like we had like changed Overwatch at its foundation, which we kind of are, but it did also like it meant that you guys couldn't have those brawl fights even if you're running a brawl composition or something that was built for brawl.
That's brawler just does enough damage to one shot anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Anybody else have anything else they want to highlight? Something they noticed? A broken hero, maybe a broken ability?
Yeah, I feel like there are definitely certain heroes that are absolute outliers because of their kits, or maybe just their base health being so much higher that even when halving their health, they are still just so much tankier than the rest. Wrecking Ball, for example, 275 health with a shield ability and amazing mobility.
Pick up a health pack somewhere. I did his adaptive shields adapt to how much health he got? Because like you could just use it and then go get a mini and it back like full health. It was kind of insane.
Especially I'll just point out he had the 120 speed boost like everybody else did, so that really added to the survive. I think obviously I think mobility and survivability are. When you get to lower levels of health, it seems like mobility and survivability are so important that if you are able to dodge that initial damage, then you're basically free to do whatever you want. And it is those players that get stuck, or the characters that get stuck standing in one spot, that they are like extremely vulnerable to that. I think that is a cool perspective too into like the support's passive, which is a big part of the conversation right now in Overwatch's balance, where like do supports who heal people really need the ability to sustain themselves even longer in the fight. Like that adds in reverse to what we did today, where we took away that sustain. I think they do need that at least kind of balance somewhere in between it. And I think like say Sleepy's idea of like a 75% might actually be might add to the feel of Overwatch. And I'll point out, you guys have seen my talks about like how like everything's been scaled up in power since the removal of the sixth tank or sixth player. I think pulling away a lot of that power felt good. Like it felt like we were on the right track, but there's a lot of things obviously that need to be rebalanced and rebuilt around a much faster paced Overwatch. All right. Anything else quick? Any notes?
I was thinking of something else. Yeah, like okay. I think the problem with how do I phrase this? So the problem with supports having sustainabilities, especially in 5v5, is that they can keep someone up, so you can't go for the person that they're healing, and they can keep themselves up, so you can't go for them. So then who do you kill? And then but then if you take the power away from supports in that way, then we're gonna see the power creep that's been like a damage creep, I guess, like how much damage you can do, and then you see everyone getting one shot and no one being able to survive anything because everything's been power crept so much since removing the 6th player.
And that's also why Ilari was so strong during the fights as well.
Yeah.
I also generally felt like certain heroes, both within the DPS and the support category, the hit scan were just a lot stronger than the rest.
Yep. Ash needs to be due back for that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the tanks as well. During 2v2s, most of the tanks were fine. But with the third player in there for both teams, it felt like most tanks were very weak, except for a Reinhardt or a Wrecking Ball, for example.
I think that also kind of depended on the type of health, because Reinhardt and Wrecking Ball have like a fair bit of armor health, right?
Yeah,
true, but they still generally, when combined, have like huge, relatively health pools. But then you look at champs or heroes like Doomfist or a Junker Queen who have
tracer level health.
Yeah,
they
like literally tracer level health. They just get 2-shot.
They function because they can stay alive in a fight and use their abilities. But when you can't live, then
that's where I find, like, of course, refining things a little bit better. Of course, we have the better watch, the super balanced game mode. I think that feels to me like a better way of doing it, where you go over each individual hero and go like, okay, what is the power level that I want this hero to be at? Because right now we did do the base flat, everybody gets 50%, there's just no question about it, but I don't think that 50% scales proportionally. I'll also point out, and we'll just kind of wrap it up here too, I'll point out quickly that I think, and this is just a hunch, that you could almost weed out OP heroes in the regular game by doing something like this. And not OP, we could say, within the current meta, but OP for specific environments and for specific more of a highlights for what could be in Overwatch, where everybody's fighting and everybody gets to relatively low health, where we see power levels creep.
It shows breakpoints.
It does show breakpoints really well. I think that's a better way. Yeah, that's a more articulate way of putting it, I guess. All right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for coming out. This is a cool conversation. I want to do a lot more of this, so we are able to go back, take a look at our games, reflect on them a little bit. We'll have a discussion about it. I'll upload this as a YouTube video. So if anybody's listening, in the comments below, tell me what you think. Go check out the videos where we do the half health. That'll coming up pretty soon. I'm stuttering and bumbling all over my words, which is perfect. Perfect for like a discussion, guys.
Classic Sulak.
All right. Thank you so much, guys, for coming out. I will see you all next week. Ben has a game mode apparently that we're going to try next week too.
Yes, I do.
So we'll see if we can figure it out.
Ben's been in the kitchen cooking.
Exactly. All right, guys.
Chef.
I'll see you later.